Here we are at week 3 of the San Clemente flip/transformation that Scott is putting his heart and soul into. So I wanted you guys to see the bottom floor. There's 3 floors above it, so it's a 4-story structure, and have him tell you about the history of how this little area came to be, and that we're getting set up for a concrete pour tomorrow, and then we'll show you guys after the concrete pour happens what all this looks like too. So Scott, tell the history of what we're standing in.
Well, we're standing under the house. When we bought the house, it was 3 stories, and this was a crawl space underneath the house. I never thought of it as potential space,
Living space.
living space. But then we realized that we could build more space down here, so we're effectively building a 1-bedroom unit down here. It's going to have a fantastic ocean view, covered patio out there, you can see. But in order to do that, we had to dig out a lot of dirt, tons of dirt, and now we're building a retaining wall in the back to retain the dirt that's there higher. The dirt level used to be up about here, and we had to dig it all the way down. We've got a concrete pour tomorrow. We've got big footing here for the retaining wall, lots of intricate and specific steel. We're putting a deepened footing there. Underneath that footing, the old footing, we're lowering it down to get to bedrock. So we've got a lot going on here. We have plumbing going in this wall, so that those pipes are for plumbing. There's a drain line behind the wall, so just lots going on.
What's going on that wall?
A kitchen.
Yeah, so we're going to have a wall of the
cabinets,
sink, a dishwasher, refrigerator,
and a washer dryer.
Stackable washer dryer. Right. And it's squished, but keep in mind this is a very small, what is it, 500 square feet?
500 square foot 1-bedroom unit.
Yeah, so there's 1 bedroom behind us, behind that wall, and then this is going to be the living space kitchen that gets to enjoy the amazing ocean view. So tell me what those big pipes are for, and why we have some thicker rebar and thinner rebar. What's that all about?
The pipes are those are drain lines for washer dryer and kitchen sink.
Okay.
And dishwasher. The white pipe goes behind the wall. That's for a behind the wall drain in case any water ever creeps down behind the wall. We're going to cut that off and put it horizontal the whole way, but water would get into that pipe and out.
Okay.
You're going to like this, but the retaining wall plans call for what's called a number 6 bar, which is this one, every 16 inches. But I kind of wanted to overkill it, so I put in every other one as a number 8 bar, which is bigger. Okay. But I just wanted to make sure that it's extra strong.
Okay, and then on the floor where we are, this is a whole bunch of rebar tied, because this whole floor is going to be concrete. We're pouring tomorrow, right?
Yeah, pouring tomorrow. This is all concrete. Rebar is, it sits on sand. It sits up off of the sand, crisscrossed, and it's also doweled or drilled into the side concrete walls and epoxied in, so it'll just be locked in, super tight, won't go anywhere.
Okay.
Another thing, if you're interested, because I know you are, like we have a lot of these things, what are called hold downs. So like here's a 6x6 post with a hold down that has a bolt that goes down into the concrete. And in the event of an earthquake, that holds the house down onto the foundation. So we have a bunch of them in various spots.
Okay. You see lots of hardware, lots of stuff.
Yep.
All right, well, the next part of the video is going to be after the concrete pour, so we'll come back and you guys can see what it all looks like after the pour. The concrete pour is complete. We're standing on fresh concrete now, and we've even had a guy working on the wall a couple days. So Scott, tell the people what has been happening here.
Well, we did the concrete pour, and that got all done, and it was great. Concrete pours are always, to me, milestones, because you've got all this rebar and prep work, and then finally you get to pour it, and then it's all nice and finished and smooth. A couple things we did, by the way, to point out. This is the old foundation of the house, the original foundation, and what we did is we dug down underneath it. The foundation was not down to bedrock, so we dug down underneath it, got to bedrock, and put concrete and rebar in there to support the foundation. Now it's resting on bedrock as opposed to compressible soil, which is why the house had settled. Over here you can see actually We had gone under and we had jacked up the whole house. And when we jacked up the house, we lifted the wood off of the foundation, and then we shoved concrete underneath the wood to raise and level it back up. So that's something we had to do with this house, which was a big operation. But the wall is done. That's a retaining wall. It's not done, but that's how high it's going to be. We have to fill it with concrete. That'll be a retaining wall because you can see the dirt and foundation behind it. There's
So you're
steel in it.
gonna pour concrete down in all the holes, right?
Yeah, that's called grouting the wall.
Okay.
And then these bolts are for, they'll get special hardware like this one, which is called a hold down, to hold the house down onto the foundation in the event of an earthquake. There's this strap here that we're going to get a big post that comes down and rests on the wall. It takes a lot of load from above in the house, so.
And the strap will be attached?
The strap will be attached. Yeah, the wood post goes, and then they'll nail the strap to the wood post. So this is called a shear wall, actually. This plywood walls help resist any earthquake movement to the house. So there's like a hold down at each end of the shear wall so that it can help resist any earthquake movement. So, but anyway, this space is awesome, super awesome. This will be like we'll have
it's awesome because it's newly discovered, newly planned. Before it was just what would be called crawl space or under house access. It wasn't a real room. So that's what's so exciting is Scott created an extra 500 square feet of living space under the house that he hadn't considered before.
Right. I mean, you can see how high the dirt was in here. That was in here, and we had to dig all of that dirt out and get rid of it. But in doing so, and underpin the footings here and there, but we've created all this space. This is going to be like a one-bedroom unit. This is the family room area.
And the kitchen.
There'll be a kitchen here with washer dryer along here. That's what these pipes are for, is for plumbing. So that plumbing has to go in before the concrete pour. There's going to be a patio sliding glass door here and a window. So spectacular ocean view, covered outdoor patio. And then there'll be a bedroom, bathroom, and walk-in closet in this room here.
Yeah, so this is called an ADU, or accessory dwelling unit. And more specifically, this one is a junior ADU. The requirement for a junior ADU is it has to be under 500 square feet, right, Scott?
Yes.
And part of the main house. If it's
attached to the house.
Yeah, it's incorporated into the square footage, attached, however you want to say that. Versus a detached ADU would be something not attached to your home. So
yeah. Here's something else that's interesting. This is a big foundation that we poured. There's one central load of posts in the house that support a lot of the load of the house. A lot of the second floor, the third floor, and the roof all comes down this one post line. There's posts above and above, and they all come down to this spot. So this is a big footing that we had to pour to support a lot of the house.
And for those of you that may not know, Scott's background is that he is a civil engineer by training, has a bachelor's degree, and is a registered professional engineer. So he understands load and all these calculations, and he speaks engineer, which is really helpful. So even though he's not the one doing the engineering and the structural, it's so helpful to have him to speak their language.
Yep.
Okay, is that it for down here?
Yep.
Okay, so that was like some of the really big progress. I have a question. What is this dirt area right here for? Why isn't there concrete across the whole thing?
There is concrete here. There's existing concrete, but in pouring new concrete, if it's too thin, it will break off over time. And this would be too thin to pour. So we're going to clean this up and pour self-leveling concrete here that can be thinner without delaminating.
Okay, I was wondering what this was about. So that is the conclusion of our week report, and make sure you tune in for next week's because there's always new stuff happening.